I know many of you were here yesterday with him, and therefore I would like to cut my introduction very short. Professor Handke is a professor of English, so I was quite to talk about technology today. Okay, but anyway, he's a pioneer in e-learning, especially in humanities, in language teaching. And he's got a lot of teaching awards. I mean, forgotten all the names, but I think Ars Gandhi, right, in 2015, right, a very famous high-grade teaching award, and then also an award in Hessian Teaching Excellence Award, right, in 2013. So it's an excellent teacher as well as a pioneer in using technologies. What he's going to talk about today has changed, right? But I still see it is about steps. How many the important steps in preparing digitalized learning resources, as well as others, as you can see. So the 6 steps and beyond. Okay? He has very kind to explore. After yesterday's workshop, he has revised a lot about what is can improve today for the benefits of everyone. Okay, so I now pass the time to Professor Han. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Normally in a digital teaching and learning scenario, I would remain here. So this is my new position as a teacher. I'm always part of the students. But for you, I'm not teaching, I'm presenting, so I have to stand up and take this position. As Paul correctly said, I changed my presentation slightly. I got up at 6 o'clock this morning and thought, why the hell should I bother you with things I told you yesterday? I want to inform those who were here yesterday with something new, but I also have to address people who weren't here yesterday with things that they can follow us and that they understand what it's all talking about. And you see, in a room like this, you have to make sure that everything is fine from the back. Because you can see me from the back, you can see me from the front. It's the new position of the teacher. You're visible. You're no longer behind any desk or you can't hide anymore. So I made sure that my purse is out of my back pocket because it was off. Okay, so you see the title, Language Learning and Beyond. So I want to say a little bit of beyond it. And I've heard that some medical people are here. Is that right? At least from my list. But then I have one slide which is for us and which will look relatively nasty because it's about cranial arteries. Okay. So what will we be doing? Here you see the goals and the content of what I'm going to say. First of all, motivation and benefits, a quick summary of what we did yesterday. Then a quick summary of digital teaching and learning, and then the roadmap. That's the new point. The big question, how do we get into digital teaching and learning? If you want to take photos and want to post them in Twitter and Facebook, go ahead. Straightforwardly. So I want to see 20 photos after this session in Twitter or in Facebook or elsewhere, Instagram, whatever you use. Okay. So let's start with the motivations and benefits, and this is something you saw yesterday. One benefit of digital teaching and learning is to be able to individualize, to give everyone their own speed, their own place to learn, their own material, and to not to have the same speed for all of them, the same place for all of them. You know what I'm talking about. Today I read something very nice on Twitter in a group where I'm permanently in contact. Someone from America asked or posted the following sentence: the global classroom today is the internet. That's the classroom. If you accept that, you have to change your teaching and learning already. If you accept that the internet is a sort of classroom, that information comes in from there, you have to do something about traditional teaching and learning. So this is what I said, informed you about yesterday. This is our platform. You see, that's the problem now. I have a pointer here. I have to point 8 times. That's the platform. A problem with this wonderful setup, you have to have a pointer with 8 automatic.
There are new pointers.
New pointers.
There are new pointers that you can actually.
Exactly. When you point there, everything is highlighted. Would be a new. So if you want to open a new venture, furniture, and pointers, there you are. So we talked about our platform. I don't want to go into that. So what you see here are new course formats. Course formats which are beyond traditional teaching and learning. They're called Flock, Scoop, MOOC, FEMOOC. I'm not going into that today. This is something which is our version of in-class teaching, and you see my new role. I'm sitting in the middle of the audience. Students gather around tables like these, so I'm very delighted that we are in this room where we can actually see and feel how the new learning architecture is used today. So that's another big advantage, that we have now direct contact between teacher and learner, much more than ever before. So these are some benefits. Then we have benefits that can directly be associated with language learning. You saw them yesterday, some of them. I inserted a new one, I think, so we don't have to go back to this one. You saw these things. We can visualize things. We can retrieve authentic data. We have interactive videos. So the whole spectrum of multimedia is now a part of our teaching and learning. We can model processes, linguistic models in terms of animations and simulations. All these are new options which result from the technology of the internet, web technology. And when Paul announced me, he said he's in the English department. I started as a teacher of English. In fact, I studied English and physical education and philosophy. Physical education don't see very much. So that was in the past. But then I oriented myself into linguistics and eventually into web technology. So that's where I'm now. Web technology is really the key to present things much better than in books. You can see so many things or present things in a much nicer way than in a book or in an oral presentation. Or you see this here, we have a video series. If you're interested in that, in our video channel, you find the links in the documents I gave you. By the way, I uploaded the new version of the presentation this morning. So now you have two versions. The extended one, which is this one, and the old one. English as a foreign language is a playlist which contains remedial strategies for Germans who learn English. And this is where I will start with the German language department on Friday. They want to construct videos for Chinese, native speakers of Chinese, who want to learn Spanish, for example, who want to learn Korean, who want to learn German. So you can create a series of contrasted videos which are highly effective. This is, for example, about the problem when Germans say Water. Water. What do you do with a German who says Water and not water? Could be the same problem for you, couldn't it? I don't know. In Chinese, you don't have a problem because you have the word in your language.
I speak English. So.
Yes, and you probably don't have the problem. But Germans don't have a word in their language. And that's why many Germans say Water. When will I be in the water? That's German English, and you have to do something about it. And such video series can be very helpful. They give you advice what to do, but they have to be language specific. We have to have one for Germans who learn English, one for Chinese who learn English, one for Arabic speakers who learn English, and so on. But the web has no end. The book would have been finished after page 200. No one would read anymore. But here you have countless possibilities of creating such videos. Look at this, a dialect map. You can check that in our language index dialect map of German. All speakers say the same thing. You just click on one of these symbols and you can retrieve the dialect. We have, if you go to Jamaica, you can, in this language index, you have 200 speakers of Jamaican Creole, and they're all different. English-based Creole, interesting thing to retrieve. Tandem learning, vocabulary training, I looked at this yesterday, and if you're now interested in medicine, well, you have general information. Is anyone interested in medicine? Shall we look at this? It's about coronary artery disease. And here you have a video. Look at these videos, what they can do.
Coronary artery and a right coronary artery. The bloodstream contains red blood cells, which deliver oxygen to the heart muscle, known as the myocardium. It also contains fats or lipids, known as low-density lipoproteins, or LDL cholesterol. Atherosclerosis begins when LDL cholesterol decreases in the arterial wall.
But you see what wonderful animations they have. No book can ever do that. So why not integrate these into teaching? And this is free material on YouTube. It took me about 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, to find a wealth of material on the web, which I didn't create. Or look at this one here, computer science. Is anyone into computer science? Programming language.
Oh boy, that's a really tough question. It's kind of like asking, what are the 5 countries you should know about if you're not interested in geology or geography or politics? And the answer varies depending what your actual interests are, or what are the 5 companies you should know. And that changes over time too. Back when I was getting started, these many decades ago, the answers would have been Fortran, COBOL, BASIC, Lisp, and maybe APL.
So this is what the inventor of Perl, by the way, the programming language Perl, and he was asked about the 5 most important programming languages, and he has just answered this question as it would have been in 1990, and later on in this video he talks about today's programming languages. Where do you get this information as authentic as from a person like him? Or look at the following. Now, typical videos, how to do something. So basically competence training. Now here we have the elbow replacement. If anyone doesn't like it, don't be afraid. I stopped the video at the right position, so it becomes crucial and critical for non-medicals.
Total elbow arthroplasty. This is an excellent technique to relieve pain and improve function, particularly in settings as elderly patient with rheumatoid arthritis. Here you can see the loss of passive joint motion, plus the painful swelling at the elbow. It extends out posterior growth.
Okay, so I stopped here. Now the elbow is going to be opened. Or take this one. Have you ever wanted to know how to program a computer virus? Here is the advice, what you have to do. A very simple one, and everyone can do that.
So, to make a simple, it's like a very simple virus. You add off, you do semicolon A, you use start, and then go to A. So what this is doing is starting with a command prompt, saying start, so that starts up a command prompt dialog, which is this. Surprisingly, that takes like a 2 megabytes of CPU usage per one. So it's just reopening these, so these will come up really fast, and they'll have like, they'll just keep opening them and their computer start lagging and stuff because it's using all the CPU usage. And then eventually the computer will like freeze.
So the computer, you know what's happening? There's a loop. Permanent loop is occurring between colon A and go to A, and in between the computer is restarted all the time. And you can do that about 20 times and the computer will crash. The only thing is you have to make sure that someone gets this virus, and you do it via email. That's how computer viruses are implemented. And there are thousands such instructions on the web, so if you're interested in doing that, the web is there for you. So we have general information on the web, we have how to competence training information on the web. Why shouldn't we use it? That was my first question. And now let's look at digital teaching and learning and the details of that for those who weren't here yesterday, and added something new for those who were here. Not in this room, but elsewhere. This was teaching of the past, yesterday's education. The teacher stood somewhere, the pupils were sitting neatly in front of the teacher, and the flow of information was unidirectional. Teaching of the past. And it looked like this. You saw this image yesterday. In the Middle Ages, teachers stood in front. Students had better things to do. They were talking to one another. They were asleep. And some of them were even reading what someone said up front. What a duplication of events. Why should you read something which someone tells you? But this is what was done, and it's still done all over the world, because if you see this image, it's virtually the same. And this is an image of a lecture hall today. It could be in Asia, in Europe, in America, in South America, in Australia, anywhere in the world, it looks like this. Maybe you don't sleep in Asia. In Germany, they fall asleep maybe a little bit faster. That may be a difference, but it's the same. So when people realized that, they changed the setup. The teacher became more modern. Women were allowed to teach. So, and you arranged a new setup, which looks like this. A new setup, but the teacher was still here. Now the students sitting at tables like these could communicate with one another. But only this table, that table, that table, that table, not across tables. And the flow of information, still the same. Unidirectional. Whenever there was an input, unidirectional. And this is what it looks like today. Typical classroom setups, well, this may be a conference here, and the teacher still in front. Same setup. So, we have to do something about it. I wrote down modernized education. It's not modern education, it's modernized. The big disruption came along, for me, in about 1998, the internet. So that revolutionized everything. Everything was turned over. Disruption, you call it these days. Now, the flow of information is different. It's no longer just from the teacher to the learner, but also between learners, among learners, and from learners to the teacher. And then even worse, or even better, the social media came in. So what do we do with those? Do we ignore them? No. Because now we have even new devices, which were not there before 1989. And then on top of it all, Google. So, what can we do with this situation? We have to change teaching and learning. We cannot go on like in the 20th century. It's impossible. So we must change our policy in teaching and learning. And this is what it looks like today. Students are sitting anywhere. They're talking to one another. They arrange themselves into learner groups. And then they use YouTube in class. So no one, you might want to look at a YouTube video now. Use your headphones, that would be better. Not just with your loudspeakers on. But many students forget to switch off their smartphones, and then you hear a ring. Okay, that happens these days. You use the social networks to upload things, to exchange news across tables now, across classrooms. We upload audio and download audio. We use interactive tools on the web. And the teacher is anywhere. Anywhere. So I have no fixed position anymore. Well, and sometimes we may even use humanoid robots who might assist the teacher in what they want, what they don't like to be. This is tomorrow's education, well, and for me it's today's education. This is what it looks like. However, the architecture is a little bit awkward. These are all photos from my in-class teaching. You see on the top right, we have a traditional classroom with a row architecture. It's hard to get in sometimes unless you leave a space. We have tables which we permanently have to set up, like we are removing furniture. And we have robots who assist students in some way or another. Well, and in Hong Kong, you are ready. This is the so-called poppy architecture. And down to the right-hand side, you see one of the key people in England, Diogo Casanova. You can type that in or Google this person, and then you find more architectures of this type. And you are ready, and now this is where we are. And that's exactly the architecture we need. Maybe this thing should be a little bit more flexible. It still invites me to stand here like this. Perhaps you don't need it at all, only as a technical stand, and then the teacher, who is not a teacher anymore, is flexible to be anywhere. So you have it here. And that's, I think, something you can be very proud of. We don't have such rooms in my university, and I must admit, I have not seen a German university where you find such a setup. So you are ready doing that. And Paul told me you even have more rooms of this type.
Only one more. Another one coming to us.
Then you have 200% more than we have. Okay. So this is the new architecture. Now how can we react in teaching and learning? This is something you saw yesterday. Many people think, okay, education technology. We need education technology somehow. Here you have 8 data projectors, 8 screens. By the way, the price you have to pay is a sort of echo. You heard when the sound was played, didn't you? So that's again the price you have to pay. Maybe the sound system should be rethought to some extent, but okay. And in the deepening phase, many people think, okay, PDF documents will do, but that's not enough. That's a system of digital augmentation, and that's not good enough for teaching and learning. So we need a little bit more. This is not what you call digitization. We need to fully integrate digital material into the content delivery and content acquisition process. And in the deepening phase, where we train and assist, we have the class setup. This is my traditional setup. This would be an ideal setup for such an in-class training. Okay, and you can do the same off-campus in online courses, but that's something we're not interested in today. The big question arises now, how do we do it? First option is what people call the flipped classroom model. A video beforehand, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, and then we meet in class and talk about it. There's a Twitter group, the Flipped Classroom group. Today I read something where they said we need the Flipped Classroom mastery model. Do you remember what I said yesterday? We need electronic assessment. We cannot simply expect our students to watch a video and come to class fully prepared. It doesn't work, they won't do it. So you have to do something about that. This is why the flipped classroom is typically a school model for school kids. On the vanguard here is the United States, and Germany is not bad at that point. Many teachers have rethought their in-class phases, and I was informed that in Hong Kong at school you're really going into this model. At university we need more complex information. A simple video won't do. We need text, we need literature references, we need all sorts of things. It varies a little bit between the natural sciences and the social sciences, but you need definitely more material, and you need also the integration of the social media, because people communicate like this. And this is the inverted classroom. This is the technical term. So, and now we are trying to think about what exactly do we need in order to fulfill the first phase, the content delivery phase, with real information. What do we do about it? We need so-called scenarios. The scenario we need for the content delivery phase is a self-learning scenario. Students must be enabled to be self-learners, which is hard. It's really hard to organize oneself in terms of learning. The keyword used today is procrastination, where people move away things as much as possible. Nice TV show tonight, I do it tomorrow. Football match tomorrow, I do it the day after, and then, oh, no more time to do it. That's what typically happens in self-learning. So we need this scenario, we need to support. In the deepening phase, we need a scenario of networking. Students have to learn how to network. Many of them know that already. They are on Facebook, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on Snapchat, wherever. And we need the social media I just mentioned. The digital elements, the in-class technologies first. In class, like we're sitting here, we need our smartphones, we need our tablets, we need our laptops. Whatever you have, put it on the table, you will need it. That's what our students, it's a must for them. Well, and the technologies for content delivery are video, animation, web text, and well, references, URLs, links to the outside world, and so on. And I want to focus on those in the following with the roadmap. So what you see here in blue is the goal. We want to see where do we get this material from, how do we manage to create it. Okay, so we ignore the in-class phase, the deepening phase. The deepening phase requires a lot of testing and experience. I failed so often with my in-class strategies. Sometimes I left the in-class at the meeting after 90 minutes and thought to myself, what the hell happened today? That was total rubbish. And then over the years, I got a right balance between new information and training, and it takes time. But that's a matter of the human teacher. The human teacher is highly important in the deepening phase. So what about the content? The whole model depends on various things. If you want to know the 5 basic things are called, one of them is a digital content. How do I create it? Where do I get it from? And this is the goal in the following. So, developing digital teaching and learning content, I forgot there, is possible. That's the first message. We have the infrastructures, and I added a new picture here. If you look at it very closely, you will find your own video studio here at Hong Kong. I was there on Monday, put myself in front of the green screen and took a photo, or had a photo taken by someone else. So you have that infrastructure. You have Wi-Fi, much better than I know from European universities, and my German friends will fully support that. You go to a German university, the first question is, can I rely on the internet here? I have never asked the question here in Hong Kong. And I switched on my computer and EduRoam was immediately on and wonderful. You have video studios. You have a team of video experts in the studio. Now you need some sort of knowledge how to create that. So infrastructures, yes. The students, no problem. They can use their digital devices. You don't have to tell them how to use a smartphone. You don't have to tell them how to create a video. You can create a video with a smartphone. So no problem. In the 1990s, I know in Germany, people discussed the big question whether students could be confronted with a computer mouse. Whether they would be able to use a mouse. They were talking about it. And today, they're talking about whether students should be allowed these devices in class. So we are miles behind you, miles. You have students who have no trouble with that. The content is there. Here are 2 terms which relate to what people call open content. MOOCs, massive open online courses, which are available all over the world. We are offerers of 10 MOOCs, 5 about immigrant pronunciation to Germany, Arabic German MOOCs, 2 MOOCs about the use of interactive whiteboards and technology at school to German MOOCs, and 6 linguistic MOOCs from phonetics to semantics to the history of English. Massive open online courses, which are free, and where you could maybe even download material which you can use in your own courses. And then there's a second term, OER, which stands for Open Educational Resources. That's free educational material that you can download from the web for your own purpose. You only have to find it, and that's our task today. We will find it. So, content is there, students are ready, infrastructures are there, and if you have to produce something, the production tools are as easy to use as never before. So if anyone has worked, let's say, with Camtasia, a video production tool, I can tell you, I can explain to you within 10 minutes how to use that. Maybe if we have time at the end, we will create a video within 5 minutes. 5 minutes and you will do a video at the very end. So, but that requires that we have to stay 5 minutes longer maybe. And then you can take a video for it. You only need a laptop or your smartphone. So creation tools are there, so there's no excuse not to do it. The only question is how do we do it? And here is my roadmap, which consists of 6 steps. I also created a video, the roadmap video, so if you, but this is a little bit more detailed what I'm saying now. Here are the 6 steps. I published them in a German book. I didn't bring along this book because it's in German. It's about the university teaching in a digital format, Hochschullehre Digital. And so these steps are described there. And it Foreman has a copy if you are interested. So these are the 6 steps. Let's look at them first of all, and then we will concentrate on the main step. The central idea is you start from scratch and you want to replace 10 minutes of in-class teaching. 10 minutes, not more. So we have to think about a topic which requires 10 minutes of in-class teaching. Let's say the offside rule in football. 10 minutes. Or let's say the Fisher effect in economy. The solar system in astrophysics, 10 minutes, okay? So how do you do it? You first of all, that's step number 1, you select a course from your curriculum. From your curriculum. This is my curriculum. And I don't know what yours is, so I was thinking about looking at a medical curriculum this morning, but then I said, I don't know how many are there. In fact, it's a speech therapist sitting over there, and no one else from the medical center, so it's a good thing I didn't do that. So you have a curriculum of courses. What about these courses? Some of them are relatively special. For example, dialectal variation in Jamaican Creole or human language technologies is not really a course you always need in linguistics. Forget that course. Take a course which is taught relatively often, which may be even taught by several people who share this course, and then say yes. So that applies in our curriculum to speech science, semantics, psycholinguistics, and language and linguistics. And then the second criterion is how often are these courses taught? Psycholinguistics is taught every 2 terms, every 4 terms only, every 2 years. But language and linguistics, speech science, and semantics every term, time and again. So these are good candidates, and I selected this one, language and linguistics. So that's a course that occurs quite often. Now if you look at this course, there it is. This is what we do in that course. We have 13 units. We have 14 or 15 weeks per term. So 1 unit per term. If you want to digitize that entire course, you have to do the following. You have to generate about 250 pages written text. That's a lot. You have to create about 6 hours of video. That's even more. And you have to create something like 150 images, 25 animations. I took our course as a basis. And you may want to create about 500 questions for electronic assessment. How long would that take? My calculation is if one person does it 8 hours a day, it takes about a year. So this is really not encouraging, not at all. That's why I say we must break it down. Don't start with a course. Don't think in terms of courses. Think in terms of one learning unit from the course. So select a unit now from your course, which, for example, may be reused in another course. So if you have, and courses, by the way, that are used across subjects are good. Anatomy is something you need in physical education, in medical education, and in biology. A course on cognition, human cognition, might be used in artificial intelligence, in linguistics. So these are courses where I would start because the impact is really great. The same applies to units. Now a unit, basic concepts in syntax form is perhaps, that's the 8th unit, is perhaps too special to start. But a unit, language and linguistics, the first one, where I inform people about what is language and what is linguistics, might be interesting even for degree programs which are not linguistics, but language studies in general. What is a language and might be reused? So standardized and reusable content should be selected. For us, it's this unit, language and linguistics. This was my decision to where I started. What does that mean, 1 unit? It means about 15 pages of text. That's the amount of text. 1 page is about 20 lines on a computer. 20 lines. So quite a lot, isn't it? It's about 300 lines you have to write. You have to create videos, but not that much anymore. 30 minutes of video for 90 minutes of traditional content. We can apply a factor. The video is more compact than live teaching because no one is going that in the middle. No one asks a question. You don't repeat yourself. So everything is wonderfully, smoothly arranged. You read it from the teleprompter. You have a teleprompter here, and everything is nicely arranged. So the factor 3 is realistic for videos. 30 minutes, you need about 30 questions for electronic assessment. That's what you need, what you have to think about. How long does it take? For one person, about a fortnight. 14 days, then you have that ready. Okay, you might think in such terms, I want to go a step lower. Don't even select the unit, but select the topic from that unit. Yes?
May I clarify what is the difference between a course and a unit?
A course consists of units. Every week you have 1 unit.
Okay, so, for example, in the course I have 13 lectures.
Yes,
So
it's a lecture then. The unit is a lecture. So this is the equivalent of traditionally 90 minutes teaching in class. And we measured that. We had students sitting in front of their computer and measured how long do they need in order to go through a unit, and we found out between 60 and 150 minutes. So that's about okay. Meanwhile, we have 600 such units on the Virtual Linguistics Campus. You can Google that, by the way, the Virtual Linguistics Campus. It's also on your list of internet links, and then you will find all these units. So 600 units of 90 minutes equivalent content. So, language and linguistics. Now the goal is we pick from that unit only a fraction that traditionally covered 10 minutes in class time. And we maybe as a criterion we select that part where we think it involves some sort of multimedia. Things you can't do in class very well, where you think the computer is better. So I selected the topic animal communication. And the reason was quite simple. I don't have whales or bees in the classroom. I don't have birds flying around. There are no monkeys or apes that create noises. But video would be a wonderful thing to use here. And so this is a starting point, animal communication. What do I need now? This is what it looks like, by the way. This is the final result. It's a website consisting of some 10 pages of text. It has 2 videos in it, which are about 2 minutes each. And it has an additional hyperlink, which means 10 lines. That's okay, we can write 10 lines within an hour. 3 minutes video, the micro modules you call them here, we produce them over there in the video studio, or we just produce them while sitting with our computer at the desk, without going into a studio. And 3 questions about the topic. What is the difference between human communication and animal communication? A multiple choice test. 3 such questions. Don't forget the questions, because in the end, once you have it ready, and you have to construct 300 questions on the trot, drives you mad. But if you collect the questions while you go along, you have them in the end, and you have your electronic tests ready. So, this is what we're going to do. And now we want to digitize the whole thing. How do we do it? The first thing is, we're looking for material on the web. Before we start anything ourselves, let's look it up on the web. Open content, which means we need to look for open education resources. We need to look for videos, and I will do it with you in a second. Now take out your laptops already or your devices. We will look for content which is available for reuse, which is free, reusable, and which has the, you see the element CC, which has a so-called Creative Commons license. That's a license model which allows you to use content without violating any law, irrespective of where you are in the world. I know in China this is treated a little bit differently from Europe, but you see I'm smiling slightly, but here we're on the safe side. Okay? So this is what we're doing, and let's actually do it. So type in a term now, and I will do that. Perhaps I will type in now, I'm pretending I'm medical. So let's start YouTube, or let's start the web, sorry, Google search. So we're using Google, and type in a word that you are interested in. Don't use animal communication, use something you are interested in. So let's say I type in coronal arteries, because we have, or virus programming, that's, isn't it? Virus programming. Okay, now what do you find first of all? The first thing you will probably find, not in this case, is a Wikipedia entry. There we are, computer virus, Wikipedia, down there. My suggestion is, if you want to create text, take the information from Wikipedia and download it first, as a first step. So, virus, computer virus, Wikipedia. I don't know what you have on your screens. So I've copied this information. This is far too much for my 10 minutes, what I see here. Now you know that, copy that into the clipboard. You know, in Wikipedia we often have these blue hyperlinks. How do you get rid of them? There's a little trick. You load any editor on your computer. Editor. So here I have a text editor. Insert the Wikipedia information, and they're gone, the hyperlinks. They're out. Only the numbers, footnotes are in, you have to wipe them out. So now I have my text. A bit larger. So a computer virus is a type, wonderful. Now of course I cannot use this text. This is a violation of copyright if I simply use it on my website. Now you have to apply the techniques you have always applied in scientific work, rearrange the text. Yeah, well, haven't we done it all the time? If you can't rearrange it, then quote it. That's the only solution, but this is how to get text material as quickly as possible. Or do you want to sit down in the corner and think about what a computer virus is? No way. Take that text and modify it. A type of malicious or a type of bad or destructive computer program is called a computer virus. So I've rearranged the first sentence. And I think I don't have to give you advice how to do that. Okay? That's how to get the text. Alright? This is my advice. You might have better strategies of coming to grips with text, but you need text for your website. Because there are students who don't like watching the video, who want to read the text. And they're satisfied with the text. Okay? So you need text. And my advice, 10 lines. This is too much. So I have to shorten it, but I'll base it on Wikipedia. Next step. We're now looking at images. I'm really bad at computer graphics, so I have to rely either on images which are there, or on my colleagues who can draw images on the screen, who can develop them. I am really bad at using Photoshop. You know Photoshop, the software. When you look at my images, you wouldn't like it. All I can do, I can use existing images and modify them a little bit. But the first step I always perform is I look at Google, so computer virus. And now, of course, you have the image option. I have it in German here. Now you see a number of images. They look nice, but we don't know, can we use them or not? There is one option to find out in Google, which you may have, which you may know already. If not, then this might be interesting information for you. On the right-hand side, so look at my pointer here. On the right-hand side, you find tools, even in German. Tools, I don't know whether you see, do you have Chinese script now on Google or? Yeah, but it also means tools.
Yes.
Okay, so open that, then you see to the left, further to, as you see, user rights. User rights, Nutzungsrechte in German, user rights in English. You see that, and there's a little arrow. And then in the middle, the third option, marked as reusable. Marked as reusable. This is in German, which says zur Wiederverwendung gekennzeichnet. In Chinese, what is it in Chinese? I want to hear that. You see, if you open this link, which for you it should be usable or user rights in Chinese. Okay, but you see, do you see it on the screen now? English. You have the English version, you have the Chinese version. What is it in Chinese for everyone? Can you repeat, Florian? Okay, I can't. So usage rights, and if you take the third options, you find all those images that are marked for being reusable. So, these are the ones that can be reused. However, be careful. Once you want to use one of these images, click on the image and then you might find additional information. In our folder, I hope I've given you a list of links for to image portals on the web where you can download free images. The most famous one is pixabay.com. You might have heard about that. And there you can rely on the fact that every image can be used. All you have to do is at the end of your presentation or your video, you have to give the URL 3Ws pixabay.com. So images taken from pixabay.com. All right?
So we need to code the source as well when we use it. Do we need to code the source?
Well, just the link. HTTPS :// 3Ws, Pixabay, etc.
I mean, using the Google.
No. Not Google. It has nothing to do with Google. The portals you see, if I, let's say, computer virus Pixabay, is it large enough, by the way? That's better. Now you see, I get the Pixabay images already, and if I want that one, I can use it. I only have to quote in my video in the end or somewhere images taken from pixabay.com. That will do, but you don't have to give the precise URL of that particular image.
How about the reusable images of other sources?
You have to, I mentioned Pixabay because there I know that things are free. With Flickr, for example, you have to check. It says underneath the image. Then sometimes there are images where you have to pay $1 or so. Yeah?
I'd like to ask whether the authorization is it really reliable? Because, for example, if the company or any source where they allow you to use it for 1 year and suddenly they change it, then we wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know that. I wouldn't take such an image. I would simply use it. That's why I gave you the links to those portals on the web where I'm sure everything is free. Okay, so images. So much for images. Now, the next step, we want to find videos. I think, by the way, for computer virus, this looks pretty promising. These images are relatively useful. That's not often the case for animal communication and linguistics. There are just 7 images and they're really bad. So there we had to create our own stuff. So let's now go to YouTube. By the way, if you do that, what I'm doing here, as a teacher, be careful, because now your personal preferences of YouTube are shown. So you will see the latest videos I've just watched, but I'm sure it was correct. So you see, I watched football, listened to a band called Gentle Giant, and I'm into American Space Administration. So that's not a problem, but if you watch something which is really critical, don't use YouTube in front of your class like I do. So now we type in again computer virus in YouTube, not in Google. Well, and we will get how many? 1.4 million results. So we are watching 1.4 million videos now in order to decide which one we take. So Paul, how long will you take to watch 1.4 millions until two more millenniums, maybe? Yeah, 2 more lives. So what can we do? We apply a filter for our search, which you may not have used before. The filter option occurs here to the right. I don't know where it is on a smartphone, I must admit. I haven't checked this on a phone. But here to the right, use a filter. Now the filter could be, for example, that you use, what can we use? We can say, on the very right hand side, the number of clicks. For me, unfortunately, I forgot to switch this to English. What is it in English? On the right, relevance? Content type, upload date, duration, any features. You see, you can apply a filter. It's a little bit difficult on a smartphone. I think I've never done this. I would do this on a laptop rather than on the phone. So I apply the filter option, number of clicks. And immediately they're graded, they're listed in priorities. So number 1 is now a video which was clicked 7 million times. Now if I check that video, but it's virus alert, and I think the grading of the community is relatively good. 21,000 likes, only 639 dislikes, that's okay. There's no video in the world without a dislike. So if you upload your own videos, make sure you will get dislikes. Whenever I see one, I could kill that person, but this happens. And immediately, let's say after 500 clicks, you will get a dislike. And people don't even tell you why they didn't like your video. That's the bad thing, but this happens. Okay, if you want to use that video, you can use it in a very simple way, without asking anyone. You can use the this one. You can use the share option, which is here, the share option. Just click on it, and you will get the URL. This URL is the one which you use in your Moodle system, and there you are. Yeah. Blackboard, yes. On Monday, what did we use? Moodle? We used Moodle in the German language. Okay. Yeah. But you need that link. The problem with that is you have to rely on the owner of the channel that the video remains in the channel. And we don't know that. So if we find this situation, we contacted the channel owner and tell them we would like to use the video. What do you think? And no one has ever said no, because they get more clicks. Immediately I tell him I have 15,000 students in our Virtual Linguistics Campus, and that guarantees you something like 2,000 more clicks. And then they say yes. Well, this happened several times in our learning units that we took videos from such channels. You can even determine the start time of such a video. So if you don't like the initial part, get rid of it. Let's say you want to start this video here at deliberately take 25 seconds, and now you press the share option and click on this option. You see T equals 25 seconds, and then the video will start at second 25, and you can copy this link and give it to your Blackboard system or to your Google system. And then the video starts where you want it to start. Immediately you want to know how do we define the end. Is it? Question?
So can you do that part again? How do you
Yes.
set the time?
Well, of course you have to do the quality management of the video. I switch off the tone, by the way, the sound. So let's say I put the video forward to 52 seconds and I want it to start here at 52. Then I reactivate the share option and click on this little button here, starting at, and then immediately the start time is added in seconds.
With the pause before you get the share.
Well,
At the time that you want.
that depends on you, where you want to start. You decide that. You move the
Yeah,
cursor, you move the slider in your video, and you decide where you start. That's the first option for teachers if they don't like the whole video. Start at a particular point. Okay, once more, we have this material available if you consider the fact that per minute 40 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube in our world. Per minute, 40 hours. The chances are likely that there's something for you, isn't it? During one day. And this figure increases by the day. It's amazing where all this material lands. These are these server farms in the United States. Thousands of computers, thousands of hard disks storing these videos. 40 hours per minute. Just imagine what that is. In megabytes and gigabytes and terabytes. This is amazing. And the chances are growing that there is material for you every minute. Okay, the problem with this option is that the owner says, I decide not to use the video anymore, and then it's gone. And then I think I have an option here. I quickly have to go out of this. Okay, now. Oops. Went wrong. Okay, we continue here. Continue with the video. Becoming a little bit more practical. So, that's one option. Another option of taking videos is completely different. It's the option that we look for the license, that we check the license of the video. YouTube videos occur in two licenses. You can see them by activating. Now you have to do it obviously in Chinese or in English. Where is it? Is it down here? Oops. For me it is here. Show more or something like it. It should be in English. Show more? Is it on your website? Who has the English website? Show more? Just click on show more. And then you see the license. And there are two license models in YouTube. One is called the standard YouTube license, which is every video has this license, which means you are not to use it in any other way than using this link. So this is allowed. This here is allowed. You can use that link. You can use it in your own presentations, in PowerPoint, when you are in class. You can use it in videos even. However, in videos it might be lost. So you're fully dependent on the channel. That's it. But if you use it in class, for example, and a student takes a photo with a smartphone, this is a violation of the usage rights. If the student posts the photo on Facebook. If the student just posts the photo for himself, it's okay. But if you then distribute the whole thing, it's a violation. You can only use it passively use that video if it is in the standard YouTube license. So my recommendation is to be very careful with the standard YouTube license. Only embed it in websites if you have made contact with the channel owner to ask for retaining that video. Okay? A better option is the following, and now we have to apply the filter again. Filter search, and there you see under properties, this fourth column, you see Creative Commons in the middle. Creative Commons, just click on that and use it as a filter. Creative Commons. And now, of course, our 1.4 million videos are down to 10,000. There is the figure 10,000 in German. 10,000. Okay? But now I have videos which are in the so-called Creative Commons license. Let's check any of those. So I take the first one, load it and stop it immediately. Click on Show More. And somewhere I should see Creative Commons license with source. And it says here in German and possibly in English, reusable anywhere. What does that mean? That means you can download that video. You can download it, you can cut it, you can remove parts of it, you can put your own logo on the video, you can combine it with a video of your own, you can put the Chinese University of Hong Kong logo anywhere and upload it again. All you have to do is you have to mention the original source. That's amazing. That's a Creative Commons license. So if you have videos of that type, you are sure you can be on the safe side. So why should you create your own content if it's there and if it's good enough? It of course depends on your quality assurance. Creative Commons license. That's the thing you want to look for. Our videos in our YouTube channels are all in the Creative Commons license. Some people ask me often, why do you do that? Well, we do it for popularity reasons. That's the only effect. People like it. People thank us. People say, you're great, it's wonderful you're doing that. And we are not really social people in a way, but have increased international contacts. And that's, by the way, one reason why I'm here. That people got to know me because of that. And we can support the whole world now. When we had standard YouTube license videos, we had about 2,000 subscribers. Once we gave that free, now we have 600 videos in the linguistics channel, we have 50,000 subscribers. Immediately it exploded. Because now everyone is keen, are they uploading a video again? Can I use it or not? So look for the Creative Commons license videos. They're increasingly uploaded to YouTube, and many of them are fantastic. And then you can pick out the part you want to use. Okay? So much for content. Now, if you can't find content, this is the content, by the way, I found for animal communication linguistics. There are in fact 4 videos. 2 of them are our own videos, and 2 of them are from a channel where I asked for being allowed to use these videos. They were not in the Creative Commons license, but we implemented them because we got permission and assurance it will remain there. If you don't find content, what do? Do it yourself. Take out your drill, take out your saw, your hammer and your knife and create it yourself. What do you have to do? Well, here are some software tools. You need an editor. You might need a video studio where you stand in front of a green screen, you have it. Here are some software tools. You need sound software. You may need, that's the orange symbol, HTML, that's the internet. It's not a programming language, but it's a sort of markup language. You might need Snagit, the blue symbol, that's a quick video generator. You want to use Camtasia for more complex video production, but it's easy to use. But that's what you have to do then in such a case. Well, and this is what it looks like. This is the final page, and I can show it to you in its real shape on the web. So, what we do now. Never mind. Someone stepped on the internet. There we are. So this is our platform. Here are the courses. This is the unit. Is it large enough? Larger. Language and linguistics. The course is still running for those students who have to resit the exam, so they still have access. Here is the menu of the so-called virtual session, and here is animal communication. And that's exactly the website you've just seen. We took a video from our own channel. The video is being played for 2 minutes only. You can do that, so we define the start time. And with an additional technique, we also define the end time. So you see that here. There, you see these two things. That's starting and end. The video starts at a particular time and ends at a particular time. We have a text here, and we have a second video which comes from another channel. And again, this has a particular start time and a particular end time. And we have two hyperlinks. One of them is simply an old pop-up window. We are changing them now for the mobile version, where we have the image and the information about a particular aid who was taught to use natural language. So that's the information that is on our website. Okay. So, open educational resources here. Do-it-yourself stuff here, the text. And that's basically the site. And here, this was created with HTML5. We needed a little bit of the source code, but that's the HTML5 code is what you get from YouTube. This little thing you copy there. That is HTML, what you do there. Okay, now the question, where do we put the content once we have the website ready? There are several options for you to do it. If you don't like the platform of your university, you can use Weebly or WordPress. Web editors which are so easy to use, it's hard to believe. So even without the slightest knowledge of HTML5 or anything like it, you can create your own website in WordPress.com. Then it is called paullam.wordpress.com, and that's your website. And you move things in there, you just, you don't have to program any line of code. You write a text, you move an image there, you upload the URL you get from YouTube, and you're ready. The problem is with these websites, you have no student control, because you don't have to log in. There are no logins necessary, so it's more or less a presentation site. Same applies to Weebly. So what else? Well, Moodle or Blackboard. You put it there. You ask the people in your teams, what do I have to do? And they are very helpful. They are much more helpful than they would be at my university, because no one would know at my university, who can I ask for help? We don't have such a unit. And they tell you what to do, how you install the text, how you put the video in the text, and how you make that part of your teaching. Well, then the big question, this is what we do. Our platform is the Virtual Linguistics Campus. We put it there. The big question for the videos, you create yourselves, is where do you put them? Well, my answer is YouTube. YouTube has the disadvantage that if you don't do anything, the whole world will see your video. Some people don't like that straightforwardly. I did it with my very first video. I put it on YouTube and saw what happened. And it was really bad. I stood in front of an interactive whiteboard, you know, these light things. It was just a dark shadow. I wasn't really visible, and I was talking about a phony. Put that up, and after 3 days, I had 200 clicks, and everyone said, go on like this, we need that on the web. And so I put it on YouTube and didn't care anymore. You can also make your YouTube link private. So if you upload something to YouTube, you can, in the uploading options, you can say, no, only those people who have the link can see the video. Then it's private. My recommendation for YouTube is the wonderful statistics report. Yesterday I saw that since my arrival here, the clicks on YouTube videos by people from Hong Kong rose by 600. That's what I saw yesterday. You would never see that with Moodle. And so you have geographical, demographic statistics. I know are there women or men, that depends of course on the IP address of the computer. I have geographical statistics, usage statistics. I know, for example, that the average viewing time of our videos is 3 minutes 45. Our average video length is 10 minutes and 50. 3:55, that's pretty good. And so I would recommend YouTube. But of course you can leave your videos on your Moodle or Blackboard platform as well, so that's your decision. That's step 5 of the roadmap. Step 6 now is we have the digital content ready now. We give it to our students and tell them in the inverted classroom method, look at it by next Tuesday. What do we do now in class? Well, we could say we finish 10 minutes earlier. Would be a nice idea, wouldn't it? When I talked to medicals at a German university and we created something about open heart surgery, the medical told me, yes, in fact, that's nice. I can finish 10 minutes earlier. They call me so often into the operation and surgery unit that I'm glad to be able to finish a little bit earlier. Okay. You could repeat in the 10 minutes something else. So you repeat what you couldn't repeat beforehand. You could introduce new content. Students don't like that because that's more work. So all these options don't work. So this is not what you should do. And the medical, it was the head of department of heart surgery, a very famous surgeon in Germany. He found out what he had to do immediately. He told me once we had a small video about open heart surgery ready, he said, I simply show my students 3 images of defective hearts and tell them what is wrong here. And I use the 10 minutes to do exactly that. And then I told him, you have understood the inverted classroom. And that's exactly what you can do. You can now go into 10 minutes about animal communication, about computer viruses. Things you didn't do before, but which capitalize on what you have been doing with the digital material. Individual coaching is what you can do now in those 10 minutes. You can assist, you can solve problems, you can analyze data, research, competence training, but don't talk about the content anymore. It's out, it's digital. Well, and this is really what you should do, and this is what it looks like. In the class, you sit among your students and say, okay, let's now construct a language. What is the language of the bees like? Can you draw an image of the languages of the bee? How does it work? Draw an image, and I will be back in 2 minutes. Do you take care about the monkeys and what can you produce the sounds they make? Can you write them down phonetically? We will be talking about bird sounds. Can you present them phonetically? And so on. And I will be back in 2 minutes. And so that's how I spent the 10 minutes in class. The coach, here you see the bee dance there. So they had to write down the bee dance without having access to anything. Trying to memorize what they saw in the video. Okay, so that's how we could reuse it, and now we have the 6 steps ready. And the thing is, with these 6 steps, you can now go more steps. You can perform another step, another 10 minutes. yet another 10 minutes, and again. And you can digitize your teaching and learning while you are teaching. You don't have to wait until next term. Take out 10 minutes, take out another 10 minutes, go on, and then all of a sudden you feel, oh, the unit is ready. I don't have to do it anymore. And DIY content plus open content is exactly what you should be doing. So my advice is, if you start first of all look for open content and then for DIY content. Okay, quick look into the future because I heard people are interested in it. These are our robots. So let's see what will go on in teaching and learning. I'm sure we will have these things. Now, first of all, this is a short video which explains to you what we are doing, how mad we are. The idea is that in the in-class scenario, in this scenario, we could also use humanoid robots who free us from those tasks which we don't like doing. So, to tell you something about that, you have to write down the beat answer the robot could do it. I don't have to do it. So the robot will come to you and say, please, 5 minutes time, and I'll give you the following question. And then the robot will remain here and you do the task. Okay? And I will be here in the meantime. So we humans are a little bit better. And this is what the system looks like, of course in isolation first of all. Just a short video clip. It's not the whole clip, it's extracted from a video which you will see in a second. Now we may have the sound problem again here. But, okay.
Hello and welcome back. The first app turns our robot into a quiz who asks and presents questions. The prize is given to the timer and, after the predefined time, presents the solution. Here is a demo of that app. The main benefit of this app is the new freedom for human cooking. The questions, which can also be shown on big screens, can be of different formats and are all drawn from the Virtual Linguistics Campus database. They can be randomized, they can be triggered automatically or sequentially, and there will be any time which human coaches can use to assist their students and provide them with individual help.
So what you saw here, I hope you could hear a little bit. We have these sound problems. Yeah. And so this robot generates questions from the pools of questions, of thousands of questions on the Virtual Linguistics Campus. We only have to tell him in advance, today we're talking about phonetics. Then he will generate phonetics questions. There are two modes. One is the private mode. You go to him and you play an exercise with him. So the robot asks you questions, you have to answer them, you saw that. Phonetic training. The sound is being produced, what is it? Bilabial, fricative, or whatever. And in class, you would have the robot in this position, and what the robot has on his tablet, you would also see there. And then the robot takes control over the class for, let's say, 4 or 5 minutes, your table, or the whole class, and controls the questions, the time, gives advice, and gives a solution at the end, and tells the students when to stop. And robots are very nice, they're always very polite, and they're very childish. And we use the childish option because the robot can do something I'm not allowed to do. So if I said, Carmen, you have a wonderful dress today, you look beautiful. Now in Germany, you would even be accused of being sexist if you do something like that. But if a robot tells you the same thing, it's wonderful, isn't it? So we are using the naive option in addressing our students, and that's one thing. Okay, now I'll show you a video what happened in class. Did you see that yesterday? I don't think so. Or in the other, some of you haven't seen that before. Now in October 2017 in our class, Introduction to Linguistics, we had first-term students who came to the University of Marburg and had no class before. They had never seen the interior of a university before. And I was the teacher of the class Introduction to Linguistics and Phonetics. And instead of me, hidden behind a curtain, the robot turned up. Imagine what went on with these students. And now this is in German, I'm switching off the sound. Look at the face of one of the girls at the very beginning. So this is the robot, now he's in action, controls the entire lecture hall with 120 students in it. We amplified him here with an amplifier. And look at this girl here. She didn't like it, and he was highly interested. And what the robot did, he asked a question to the audience. First-term students, gave them 4 minutes time, took over the lecture hall, and it was entertaining. But the thing was, for me, it was freedom. Because I could do something else. And now in a second you will see my position. This was just, there's my position. With students sitting here, helping them during the 4 minutes, assisting them. And now if you play the game with a robot like this, you can even gain more time for individual training. That's the idea why we're using this robot. We want to get more time for coaching. We are the coaches. We humans are the coaches. I don't want to be replaced by a robot. But I want to have as much time as possible for individual tutoring, for didactic simplification, for individualization, and I want to use the robot as a tool. And if you're a language trainer, here you have some tools already where robots are being used in primary school. Here are robots for geography, robots that support student engagement, and vocabulary trainers. These are new options which are around and which may even be the road to the future. So that's the roadmap, step 7. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. I hope you learned a little bit of what we can do with material. Before you burst into cheers and clapping, I want to create a video. Shall we do that? A video. We need online access. You all are online? Okay. So we want to go to a website now. You might not have seen a website before. Let me first of all close a few windows. So it takes about, well, 5 to 10 minutes. Okay? I hope you all have got these 5 to 10 minutes. Is that all right, Clambo? Or is there anyone else coming into this room?
Oh no.
Afterwards. So let me first of all close a few windows. Okay, the website we want to visit is called Biteable, Bite, B-I-T-E, able.com, Biteable.com. The world's simplest video maker, and you can do it on a smartphone. It's a little bit tricky though. I did one of these videos when I was on holiday with my wife, and I created a video to attract students for my class beginning 3 weeks later. Okay? This is a video tool where you can create videos on the basis of predefined animations. Okay, get started, it's free. By the way, I have an account here which costs you $99 US dollars per year. So my department is so rich to have been able to afford these $99. The difference between the free version and the registered version is that you get a watermark on the bottom, and that you can only that you cannot download your video and use it elsewhere. So when you register now in a second, you need your real email address, not a fake address, because you will be given a link to your email. Okay? So get started. Okay. Get started. And this is the screen where you should be. Is it the right one? You first of all have to create your data. You have to sign up for the version. So let me return. I log in, you have to sign up for free. That's probably the most complicated thing. So I have logged in with my Facebook account. That's it. So have you signed up? And can you see this here? Similar to this. This is a set of my videos, and I think we have to click on the link, create new video. Create new video. Got that? What sort of video would you like? Perhaps I'll enlarge it a little bit. Now here are some suggestions. Business videos, presentation, slideshow. What Bytable does, Bytable has a set of something like 30,000 animations from which you can choose. We don't read them all today. We will be very simplistic. So, presentation, don't click on the play button, but on the arrow, on the small arrow. We use a presentation. Now immediately you get a selection of suggestions at the bottom, 10 animations predefined, and for each animation you can type in text. My suggestion is we reduce it to 3 or 4, so don't make it 10 now. At the moment we would have 10 images, or 12 even. You can erase these images by going at the bottom and then click on this arrow and then delete. So delete as many as possible so that 3 or 4 will remain there. And don't be selective now. It's more or less the principle. So I leave the rocket. The rocket is pretty good. But I don't go left hand. The lorry is pretty good. You will see what happens in the end. It's quite nice here. Lead. Okay, I have 4 left. What about you? So I have 4 scenes left. Is that everyone with me? Sort of? Are you with me? The German fellows from the German department? Or have you been lost? Are you wonderful here? We're doing something else. Okay, okay. You with me? Great. So now you can type in text. Let's say we want to announce a seminar. Starting in, when does your next term start? Or is the term running at the moment? Because we are on vacation in Germany. And when does the term start? In September, then the next one? Or
this one is January.
Yeah,
September?
September.
Okay. Is there a seminar you will be involved in, Carmen? Paul, what is your one of your seminars in September? Lectures? Professional development with Paul Lamb, starting on the 1st September in room 401. I want to announce that one now. Okay, so the first, I click on the first label and type in the text. Invitation. Paul Lamb will be back. Save it next. And then you type in text for the next animation scene. Join him when he teaches and has gone digital. Okay, save the next. I don't care whether the text is long enough or short enough. Course start. 5th of September, I have no idea whether that's right or not, 2018, room 401 at Mao Zedong building. Wrong building, Dong I think it's. Okay, and finally, unforgettable, great, and you will love it. Okay? So, save the next. Now I could add more scenes, but I don't want to, I'm immediately sent to the color setup. So now you can either define your own colors or you can select the color scheme. So I'm using this one for a change. There you can see that. Once you've done that, the color, you click on audio and select audio file to go with it. The audio files are all free. There are hundreds of them. I'm not really choosy now. You can listen to them. Oh, that's your music. I select that. Choose the audio file. There. And now I click on preview. And I can build the preview. The current estimated time is 5 minutes because there is a queue of users from all over the world on this platform. You're set into a queue, and in order to make time a little bit nice, they show you some strange comments there in the meantime. And once we're ready, the video is ready, and you will be amazed about the result. If you have a license here, if you have an account, you can download that video and make it part of other videos. Because to create these animations yourself would be a waste of time. So your building process has started. Okay. Now when one of my assistants found Biteable, I told her, oh, I need that. Please inform me about that. I will reserve next Tuesday for that. She said, no, you only need 5 minutes. Am I right? 5 minutes and you can create a video. Now we have to wait, of course. You see it's slide 204 or scene 204. And once we're ready, I use these things from time to time then on Facebook or on Twitter, on Snapchat in order to address my students. Yes, go ahead.
Maybe for people who have not been here, you can elaborate on how to make sure that students really do the task beforehand the class.
Yeah, we have.
I found this really interesting because this is a key question.
Yes, well, we discussed that yesterday.
Yeah.
Electronic assessment is key. That's one of Paul's 5 points. What do we do in the inverted classroom so that it works? One of them is the class phase, that's one point. We have to create a new in-class behavior. One of them is the digital content. We have to make sure we have the content. And one of them is assessment. We have to create assessment questions. My suggestion is multiple choice to start off with. So create a test after the digital scenery that students have to go through before they come into class. If you have Moodle here, in Moodle you have a system, you can Google for that, called H5P. H5P. It's a Norwegian system. I don't know why these people are in Norway, but this system allows you to take a YouTube video and insert questions into the video. And then the video will pause and won't go on until you have mastered these questions. That's also an option, and you can link it up with Moodle, and not with Blackboard, not with other platforms at the moment. This is a plugin in the Moodle platform. And then you can test the videos themselves. This is an amazing system. So assessment. So I'm in building scene 404. We've just cracked the 10 minutes. Challenging your video to a dance-off. So, has anyone seen that video already? No, you're waiting? But you know, it's easy, isn't it? So, and if you can't do it as a lecturer, tell your students to create it. They will find it very funny to select the rockets. So, or them as a rocket or as a lorry or whatever. You can even upload your own images, by the way. So my video seems to be ready. Here we are, invitation. Oops. Amazing, isn't it? That's all, 4 scenes. Of course you need more scenes, But I think if you now tell me that digitization is impossible, I have to throw you out of this. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed the class. And if you have questions, just tell me. Okay.